Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
And good evening to you. Well, first tonight, Tasmania's COVID testing rates have more than quadrupled in a matter of weeks as fear builds about a growing virus cluster in New South Wales. The Premier is pleading with people to remain vigilant throughout Christmas as others scramble to beat border bans.
This is not something festive travellers or the embattled airlines wanted to see. Flights to Melbourne, the Gold Coast, Launceston and Hobart cancelled as the nationwide shun of Greater Sydney begins to set in.
I understand that it will be disappointing and frustrating because of the disruptions that have taken place.
Those who made it to their destination faced an even ruder shock. Adelaide passengers last night given a choice: 14 days quarantine or return home, despite arriving well before the midnight deadline.
My grandkids on the border yesterday was the saddest thing I have ever done. They were inconsolable.
South Australian Police today forced to apologise for the bureaucratic bungle. Queensland residents also racing home and against the clock before a border ban kicks in tomorrow morning. Sydney jam-packed too. In the city, testing rates in the past 24 hours reached record levels.
More than 38,000 people came forward to get tested.
15 new cases today, all contained to the northern beaches. The New South Wales leader is optimistic but has warned Sydney-siders,
I don't think you're immune. This can affect any of us.
Locally, testing numbers have also soared. Before the interstate outbreak, around 200 a day. Now,
over the last 24 hours, we saw 833 tests done.
A trend Premier Peter Gutwein wants to see continue over the festive period.
We simply cannot afford complacency this Christmas.
Urging venues to maintain COVID compliance while encouraging the public to dob in any that dodge it.
This is about protecting the community, but importantly, it's also about protecting your business and your livelihood as well.
And without Sydney tourists, hospitality venues are facing a bleak summer. Unflattering November figures show occupancy rates at hotels are less than 50%. A Christmas break no one wished for. Garth Burley, 7 Tasmania News.
Turning to other news now, and a child from Tasmania's northwest is recovering in hospital after being diagnosed with meningococcal. Public Health has confirmed the preschool-aged child attended the Ulverston Childcare Centre and was diagnosed late on Friday. Family members and several staff and children at the centre have been informed. The child is in a stable condition at the Royal Hobart Hospital, but the strain of the disease is yet to be identified. Authorities say there is no increased risk to the wider community. Relief could be on the way for Tasmanian households, with power bills expected to drop by up to $70 a year. It's hoped the plunge in electricity prices will help ease pressure for those struggling financially, especially in the wake of the pandemic.
Payments stacking up. For many families, opening the quarterly electricity bill is a source of anxiety.
It is considerable stress because there's nothing worse than being cold. You can be, hungry or, missing out on other things, but if you're not warm, that's the worst scenario.
A report released today, though, shows there's some relief on the way. Residential power prices around the nation predicted to drop by nearly 8% by 2023. A welcome relief for some, doing it especially tough this year.
It's certainly a benefit for low-income families. We would help 1 to 2 families every week. Any reduction like that does make it, easier for them to afford.
Here in Tasmania, that reduction won't be as large. Bills are set to decrease by 3.6%, around a $70 a year saving for a 2-person household. A drop in wholesale prices and environmental costs to benefit the state.
Here in Tasmania, we recently achieved 100% of all of our renewable, of all of our energy needs in a renewable sense. And so, look, we'll continue to invest.
Rising costs of transmission and network maintenance are behind the smaller than average drop, but the Premier remains confident we're on the right track.
There was no increase this year in a person's energy bill in their household.
The national reduction, a small change that could keep the lights on. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
West Australian company Catalyst Metals has bought the Henty gold mine for $25 million. The mine, sold by Diversified Minerals, currently employs around 125 people on Tasmania's west coast. Catalyst announced today it intends to undertake new exploration around the mine, including extensive drilling in the next year to potentially expand its operations. New data has revealed while the condition of the River Derwent is improving, there's still plenty of work to be done. The latest 5-year results, part of a 2-decade observation, showing all 18 beaches monitored have a good or fair water quality rating for the first time in 10 years. Also reporting though, despite a decline in metal contamination, levels are still too high.
We're still keeping a watching brief, if you like, on our nutrient levels, particularly in our upper estuary, and understanding what's happening in the catchment will be an ongoing concern.
The health advice remains to avoid consuming shellfish, including crayfish and abalone, or bream caught from the Derwent. As Tasmanians prepare to get out and explore this holiday season, police are urging motorists to take extra care on the roads. 35 people have died in crashes this year. Authorities hope a renewed safety blitz will help stop that number climbing.
If you think there's been more police out and about today, you're not imagining it.
Good morning, how are you today? Is your licence handy?
Tasmania Police conducting random breath tests, all a part of the annual Operation Crossroads safety campaign, hoping to make our roads a little safer this festive season.
Tasmanians have responded well to public health advice and doing the right thing in relation to COVID-19. Unfortunately, we haven't been doing so well with our road toll.
It comes after a horror year for emergency crews.
We expected things to decline because of the pandemic, and they did in other states. Unfortunately, our road trauma numbers rose.
The toll now 6 more than this time last year.
35 Tasmanians have died on the road so far this year. Think of it as 35 Tasmanians who want to be around that family table at Christmas.
Police hope a heightened presence around the state will help stop those numbers from climbing even higher.
We need to get the message out that the police will be out there in numbers, making sure that road users are doing the right thing and keeping Tasmanians safe.
With many New Year's Eve events cancelled, authorities will also be monitoring popular holiday spots, reminding Tasmanians to follow the rules and take extra care on our roads.
We all have a responsibility to work together to make sure we keep our roads safe, and let's enjoy this Christmas period.
Meg Sides, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian driver Alex Perroni has announced he's joining American team Carlin as he makes his racing debut in the United States. It comes as the 21-year-old steps away from Formula 3, saying for now it's the best decision for his career.
He's raced all over Europe, competing in F4, F3 and Renault. And now this Tasmanian-born driver is setting his sights on America.
We just looked at it and it just looked like the best decision for us in every way, basically, and very excited for a new challenge.
The 21-year-old joining Florida-based team Carlin to compete in the Indy Lights Series next year, seen as a pathway to other high-profile championships.
There'll also be some ovals, so I've never raced an oval before, so that'll be a new challenge. But, with this pathway, there's IndyCar, there's potentially NASCAR and a lot of other professional racing over in America.
The next step coming off the back of finishing 10th in this season's F3 Championship, while also not letting last year's terrifying crash in Italy hold him back.
I've kind of gone over that, I had this season, got a few podiums, so yeah, no lasting effects and feeling good going to 2021.
Now making his racing debut in the United States after quitting Formula 3 due to budget constraints. However, Perroni says he's not ruling out F2 or F1 in the future, but is staying focused on his new goal.
It's not over, for sure that isn't our main aim anymore. Our main aim is more IndyCar or being professional and American in general.
Hoping to jet off to America next month. Ruby Kamane, 7 Tasmania News.
Stargazers are in for a rare treat tonight with a 1-in-700-year astronomical event set to take place. It's the closest conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn, which will see the two planets nearly in the same line of sight. Experts are hoping clear weather will allow them to see the most visible conjunction since the 13th century.
This is an exceptional chance to see the two largest planets appearing so close together in our evening sky.
9:30 p.m. is the best time to see the event. Binoculars or a telescope are advised. And Tasmanian footy fans will see 8 games in the state next year, with 4 played in both Launceston and Hobart. The Kangaroos fixture is headlined by grand finalist Geelong, who'll play its first game in Hobart since 1996. Melbourne, GWS and Gold Coast will also make trips south to Blunston Arena. Hawthorn is set to host the Kangaroos at UTAS Stadium in an intrastate derby, play against Adelaide on Anzac Day and then face Fremantle and the Western Bulldogs. A China-imposed ban on some Tasmanian seafood has forced local producers to travel around the country to offload excess stock. Lines stretched for more than 50 people for this pop-up fishmonger who stopped in Launceston today as part of a 2-week journey through Tasmania and Victoria. It's hoping to fill a void left by the Chinese market. The week leading up to Christmas is one of the biggest for the industry. While we can't celebrate Christmas with traditional events this year, one group is bringing the carols to the streets. Taking to Hobart's red double-decker bus, the Christmas on Wheels team spent the day travelling through the city, spreading some much-needed festive cheer and drawing crowds along the way.
You better watch out, you better not cry.
All we really want is just to make some people smile and get into that Christmas spirit, get them excited for Christmas and, you know, just feel all those beautiful magical things that come with Christmas.
Local performers made up the group of roving carolers celebrating the end of a tough 2020. The Launceston to Hobart yacht race is fast becoming a centrepiece of the summer sailing season after the cancellation of the Sydney-Hobart. Only one boat has tried to change its entry. However, border restrictions mean that bid is in troubled waters.
With less than a week left, competitors for the Launceston to Hobart yacht race are making final preparations.
Oh, I'm pretty excited. It's been a pretty long year for everyone and we're just glad to be able to do this race. Unfortunately, the Sydney guys miss out, but at least we get a race in.
31 of 32 yachts entered for the annual event are moored here at Beauty Point and awaiting the race start.
We really just do it for the competition between like-minded crews and basically the same size boats, and we have a little bit of a scrap.
They're generally fairly well prepared. They fuel up, some last-minute repairs, stock up with food and provisions.
The race now thrust into the spotlight with the cancellation of the Sydney-Hobart.
So without the Sydney-Hobart this year, we hope that the focus goes to the Launceston to Hobart. It's a great race. It's a really challenging tactical race.
Coming so late, it's unlikely to bring a late splash of entries with it, despite a handful of inquiries. Border restrictions are thwarting the efforts of any boats that considered a change of plans. One boat, Alive, left Sydney before it was declared medium risk, but so far they've been told by the state government they still have to quarantine.
Whether that boat will be allowed by Tasmanian health officials into the state and into our race is something that's outside our control, but we'll see how that goes.
If allowed, they'll join a homegrown field.
Predominantly Tasmanian boats with Tasmanian crews with a real flavour of family.
As part of one of the few yachting races we'll see this year. Josh Duggan, 7 Tasmania News.
Good evening. I hope you're enjoying the summer solstice. 15 hours and 15 minutes of official daylight time today, 1 minute longer than it will be tomorrow. Now today, Cressy had our top with 23, Hobart 19, Launceston 21, Burnie 17 and Devonport 20. Temperatures around or just below average, Flinders Island 22 degrees, Friendly Beaches, Ouse and Strawn all 21, Smithton 20, King Island 19, Low Head and St Helens 18 degrees. A sunny morning over the state morphed into a cloudy afternoon for most districts as that cloud started to move in from the northwest. Now that broad cloud band extends from northwest WA across the nation towards Tasmania. Thunderstorm activity is over the Northern Territory and Queensland. A cold front has cloud moving over the Bight as well. Tomorrow a high will be over the southern area of Western Australia, preceded by a cold front. And that'll end up just to our west, and a low will drop south towards us from Victoria, and that is what will dictate our weather tomorrow. That low will produce a moist easterly airstream with winds increasing to 20 to 30 knots, mostly northeast southeasterly. That'll be for right around the state. A severe weather warning has been issued for heavy rainfall for the northeast, predictions of up to 70 and even 90 millimetres of rain. A strong wind warning from Sandy Cape to St Helens Point. And we have a flood watch for the north, northeast, east coast and the Furneaux Islands catchments. Tuesday, Hobart 20 and rain. Rain for Adventure Bay 19, 16 the top for Tarraleah. Launceston heading for 19 degrees, possible heavy falls at Launceston. Devonport rain and 19 also for Bridport, some heavy falls there as well. 19 the top for Burnie, a shower or two for Strawn, Marrawar rain and 17 degrees. St Helens tomorrow, 18 the top, some heavy falls, same for Swansea, 20 degrees for Whitemark on Flinders with plenty of wet weather. UV at 10 and very high for tomorrow, sun up at 5:33am. On Wednesday, a few showers over the west, south and northeast, mainly fine on Thursday, another shower over the west and northeast, and on Friday conditions clearing from the south and west, a partly cloudy day for the rest of the state. Sunny in Perth, 35 tomorrow, partly cloudy in Adelaide. The system affecting us also has Melbourne in its sights, heavy falls there tomorrow, a shower for Canberra and Sydney and possibly for Brisbane as well. Cloudy conditions abound, 17 in Hobart, 19 right now in Launceston and cloudy in Devonport, 17 degrees. Into the mailbag we go. Tonight's Christmas cracker joke is from Clive from Clarence. Thank you, Clive. Why did Santa's helper see the doctor? Because he had low self-esteem. Thank you very much, Clive, for that. For those of you scrambling for a late Christmas present, great idea is a calendar for next year. I know this, Kim, because my uncle was recently sacked from the calendar factory just for taking a couple of days off.
That is very good. That's your best joke ever, Murph. And that's all your news for now. I'll be back later with updates. Thanks for joining us this evening. Good night.